Hey, it's Jared here once again, or Tyrone as some people call me. I have new information for you about the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You know, people are sitting here saying how, where's Nebraska's defense and all this and that. And you can't blame a lot of people for having concern. But I look back to last year in 2010. In that season, the Huskers defense didn't look that great early in the year either. South Dakota State could move the ball on us on the ground. You know, people were worried about that, and that's a subdivision team. And then, you know, Washington, yeah, they didn't do much against us, but then we got into the Texas game, which they weren't a very good team last year, and they ran the ball all over us. And then Oklahoma State put up 44 points on us early in the year. So all the people who are really freaking out about Nebraska's defense, yeah, we didn't look the greatest against Washington yesterday, but people don't realize how huge it's going to be to get Alfonso Dennard back. I mean, when he comes back, that's really going to solidify that secondary, because right now we have a weak spot out there, and you can see it time and again. I mean, I'm not saying that I want to bash Andrew Green because he's given 100% effort out there, and he's probably a pretty good player, but it's just a glaring standout weakness right now. And once Dennard gets back in there, that's going to have both sides a little more locked down, and we're going to be able to bring more pressure, I think. I don't think we'll have to worry so much about one-on-one coverage, and I think that's going to make a big difference when it comes down to a lot of these teams we're coming up and going to be facing, like Wisconsin, because Wisconsin has a couple good receivers, but it's not like they got 4 or 5 across the board that can attack you, and so we'll be able to focus more on the run game at that time. I am a little concerned about the run game, or the run defense, I mean, because, you know, we've had a lot of yards put up against us. We'll just see how that goes. If Wisconsin can plow the ball on us, like a couple of these last teams, Fresno State and Washington have, that's going to be a long game. But I'm hoping that we're working towards that, and we can get more man-to-man coverage and get more situations where we can bring more blitzes and attack more on defense, and maybe we're just waiting to do that. I have no idea. That's what I'm hoping. But I look back at the last couple of years, and the defense early in the year wasn't that sharp. Got better as the year went. Later in the year is where the offense started having problems, and it seems like the offense is getting things clicking. So I'm not as worried as a lot of people are, we'll put it that way. But once again, we kind of had our struggles yesterday against Fresno State. Of course, we get every team's best shot, and you got to expect that. But against Fresno State, we struggled. Now against Washington, yeah, we had our struggles. So it's maybe not the most ideal first 3 games you can have, and certainly there is some cause for concern. But I think the team's coming around. The offensive line played a lot better yesterday. Those 3 walk-ons being in the game at the same time, those guys were moving people around better than we have all year. So, you know, I don't care if they're walk-ons or if they're equipment managers. If they can go in and move somebody around, that's all I want to see. And we were running the ball, and all 3 freshmen got involved in the game, those freshman running backs, and that was good to see. You know, see Aaron Green get a couple touchdowns, and Braylon Hurd got into the game and you know, got a couple good carries, so that was good to see. And basically, I kind of like where Nebraska's at right now, kind of getting settled down. Next week we need to have just a huge blowout win against Washington, or against Wyoming, excuse me, and then we'll have a good week to get prepared for Wisconsin. I know everybody's looking forward to that game, and it's going to be 2 4-0 teams more than likely, and it's going to be a shootout, and I can't wait to see that. That's going to be an awesome game. Around the rest of the Big Ten, Illinois looks pretty good. Penn State doesn't look very good. Michigan, you know, they kind of had struggles early in their game, but they came around and dominated. Michigan State, boy, they couldn't run the ball at all. That was pretty scary. See, watching them against Notre Dame, you would have thought they could have ran the ball against that defense, just couldn't do it. So where they're at right now is kind of questionable. Ohio State looked terrible. Their offense is lackluster. You know, teams like Penn State and Ohio State who are switching quarterbacks back and forth, I don't get it. Go with a guy, and you play him that game. I mean, yeah, you could get where maybe at halftime if a guy's playing terrible, go ahead and switch, but stick with your decision. This back and forth is terrible. Like Penn State, they have no continuity on their offense whatsoever. Both guys play so afraid that every time you get a quarterback that's playing afraid out there, playing afraid because he's worried the next mistake he's made, he's going to get pulled out. So you're worried about what mistakes you're going to make. Watching that game against Temple was unreal. Seeing how, you know, those quarterbacks are playing, you can tell they're looking over the sideline every second. So I don't understand that. I think you got to pick a guy and go with him. I think Ohio State needs to do the same thing. Just pick a guy and go, and then your offense can get in a rhythm. They didn't look very good against Miami. And as far as Minnesota got their first win, like I said, Illinois beat a ranked team, Arizona State. I'm still not sure Arizona State's as good as people thought they were. So I'm not sure how big a win that is. We'll see down the road how good Illinois is. Northwestern losing, that was kind of a shocker to me. But going around the league, really it was a pretty good day for the Big Ten. When I saw Iowa getting beat and Penn State getting beat early in the day, I was kind of wondering what kind of day it was going to be for the Big Ten. But Ohio State losing was really, and Michigan State losing kind of hurt. But otherwise, I think the Big Ten does look pretty decent this year. I think the teams that are typically your top-ranked teams, like Ohio State, you know, it's going to be a tough year for them to win the Big Ten. I mean, you look at where everything they've been through, losing all the players. Yeah, getting those players back is going to be huge, you know, when they come to Nebraska. But are they really going to have confidence? Or, you know, those players are going to be rusty. They haven't had game situations to deal with in quite a while. So they may be rusty, and I just think it's going to be a tough go for them. But Wisconsin, you know, they look like the hands-down favorite right now. I know they haven't played a lot of good teams. Oregon State, they look terrible, and they're really the only decent team they've played. So, and then next week they got South Dakota, University of South Dakota, which is a subdivision team. So, is that really going to help them prepare for Nebraska? I don't know. That game is going to be interesting to see. You're gonna know a lot about the Big Ten after that Nebraska-Wisconsin game. And God, I hope Nebraska can win it. It would be huge if they could win that game, because that's just going to set things off for them for the rest of the year. And even if they have a couple losses going away, getting that one right away is going to be huge, because I think they can lock themselves up for a real good chance to win the Legends division. Anyway, I just wanted everybody to know that I don't think there's any cause for panic about Nebraska. I mean, you got to look at the situation like it is, and that's the fact that we have a young team and they're learning. And I think every week so far they've gotten better. They've responded when the chips have been down, and they've had situations where in years before, like last year, they didn't respond, and this year they are responding. So I think that's all you can look for, and I think they're doing a good job. I think Pelini's done a good job. The defense didn't respond quite like I thought they would, but I think that's going to continue to get better. Like I said, the last few years they've started slow, got better as the year went. By the end of the year is where our defense was shutting people down and getting into situations where the offense couldn't get it done for us. And this year, if we can keep Martinez healthy, which I like how he played yesterday, he had chances where he just ran out of bounds instead of getting hit. He would run out and do a little slide out there instead of going out and getting hit. So it was situations where he protected the ball, protected himself, didn't turn the ball over, had a couple decent throws just to show the defense what they could, that we are capable of throwing, so that opened up the run game. And that's just like old school Nebraska football. You go back in the days, was Tommy Frazier that good a thrower? No. Was Eric Crouch that good a thrower? No. Was Scott Frost that good a thrower? No. But the offense kicked butt because they were just good enough to throw and make it a threat, and then the run game opened wide open, and that's what we got going on right now. I think we're going to be a good set. Next week's Wyoming, so you probably won't hear from me until after week 5 when we play Wisconsin, and that is going to be a doozy, folks.